Hello, my friend, and welcome to Insecurities, hosted by me, Johnny Seifert. This is a celebrity mental health podcast where I say it's okay to not be okay. And if you have the same actually, whether you're watching or listening, click that 5-star rating, click the subscribe button, and let's keep spreading the word. It's okay to not be okay. And don't forget, you can find me on Instagram at Johnny Seifert at Skinny Insecure Podcast and on TikTok at Johnny Seifert92. But let me tell you about my guest today. My guest today is one of our West End leading men, starring in Jesus Christ Superstar, Elf, and Phantom of the Opera. Plus, most importantly, he's friends with my hero, Chris Moyles. So please welcome to Skin and Skin as he releases his musical greatest hits album with Breastway Music and is about to head out on his own tour. It's Ben Forster. Hello, Ben.
Yay! Hello, hello, hello. It's so nice to be here.
I am
Thanks so
so
much for having
excited to
me.
talk to you. Your album is incredible, absolutely incredible. There's goosebump moments in it. Take us through what the album is, first of all.
So the album, I mean, when you know what, right? First of all, like this rewind 13 or 14 years ago, I wanted to create a musical theatre album. Like I grew up with musical theatre albums, and I grew up listening to sort of our leading men and women singing all of their favorite and the most famous songs. So actually, like I've always wanted to do that, but no one would give me the opportunity. I found it really difficult for a really long time to sort of get the right deal, to get the right producer, to get the right team. And finally, last year, I had a really, really good lunch with a guy who owns a record label called Westway, Neil O'Brien. And I said, look, this is like, he said, let's do an album. What do you want to do? Do you want to like write some songs? I'm like, no, I don't. I just want to sing with a massive orchestra all my favorite sort of musical theatre songs. So it is just musicals' greatest hits, but we've reimagined them. You know, they've got beautiful orchestral sort of cinematic arrangements, things that I think that they would like that really suit the songs, basically. So yeah, I've just sort of tried to make the my dream versions of each of the songs, and it's ready. And I'm so nervous for people to hear it, but you've heard it. And you just gave me some lovely feedback. So I'm like, oh my God, pray that people like it.
Everyone will like it, my friend. It is the most beautiful album. Like you say, the strings in there. When you put orchestra, it is goosebumps. I'm seeing Westlife tonight at the Royal Albert Hall with a Philharmonic Orchestra, and it will just change the whole way and the meanings to it because suddenly the words really come alive. You're not thinking about, oh, I know it's that scene in that musical. You're going, okay, what does that word mean for me? And to do that, what I'd love to do with you, Ben, is we're going to work through your album, and I've written some thought-provoking questions based on your album's song titles. And rather than just saying, huh, the winner takes all, great song, tell me about what ABBA means to you, we're going to turn the head around a little bit, my friend. We're going to talk about you. So let's talk about the winner takes all. That first song, you won Superstar back in 2012, and that was your kind of big break into the mainstream. But you'd already worked in musicals a lot before that. So when you won that show, what did that validation do to you to feel like the winner? Did it mean, oh yeah, I've won a TV show, or did it do something else to you mentally that went, I'm here. Yes, I've done Grease, but this is the big that I'm suddenly being noticed by Andrew Lloyd Webber suddenly.
God, it's such an interesting question, actually. It's a really difficult one to answer because there's two sides uh, to that answer. The first is yes. I mean, look, I'm an insecure actor. We are all insecure in our own ways. I don't think you can put yourself out there sort of on stage and representing these huge roles, huge playing Jesus, for instance, playing Elf when Will Ferrell was the most famous person and everyone just thinks of Will Ferrell, or playing Phantom that had amazing predecessors, iconic and historical musical theatre figures have played that role. So when I won the show, playing Jesus in them arenas and being given that opportunity, yes, oh my God, like there is a side to that that does give you a little bit of validation and sort of you go, okay, I was right to think I could do it. But, and this is a really big but, it also comes with making me the most insecure that I've ever been. And it was, because you're sort of you have everyone's expectations, huge expectations of Steve Baltimore, all these amazing actors that have played it, Glenn Carter, and beautiful voices. Am I giving people what they want? And then also, I was in a TV show with 12 other boys, and you think to yourself like, oh, did half the audience that booked their tickets vote for the other guy? And are like, oh, well, I knew that he should have won and not him. The slightest crack in your voice makes you go, oh my God, I've let everyone down. Or I do wonder still, if I hadn't have won it, actually, would I be in the same sort of situation, in the same mind space as a, I don't think I think I'm more insecure for winning it because I question a lot more than I maybe would. In a way, you go, oh, did I get that? Was that a lucky break? Did someone give me an opportunity? Am I now getting the opportunities because I did that? Or am I getting the opportunities because I wholeheartedly deserve them? And I think that's a really, really difficult thing to sort of live with all the time. Of course, I'm not taking away the gift that it was. And I've mentioned this before, like, it's like someone just shines a little spotlight. You know, there's thousands of us uh, performers that are working in the West End. There are thousands of performers in the country. And to stand out amongst massive, massive talent sometimes is really difficult. And that TV show definitely just like put a spotlight on my face and allowed people to know who I was, to allow people to relate to who I am and things, which always helps. You know, I had a following of people on social media. So that, but in the same way, you go, oh, like, this isn't the same as when I was doing Thriller Live before, and I was just purely there because I was the best person in the room to get the job. I auditioned with everyone else. It was an audition, and I was the best person, and the team picked the best person. In my case, it was the country picked the best person for the job, but there are always going to be people that like you and dislike you. So it's a really hard thing, actually, to come to terms with sometimes.
But it's interesting because if you think about like the X Factor is always that classic example. If you won the show, you were sped up to release that album straight away. And the winners, some have done well. And This Is Entertainment recently actually looked at the top 10 and how well people have done, like your Ollie Murs, your Alexandra Burks, etc. But if you came second or third, and we know things like One Direction, how you can catapult because you take your time to work on your craft. Like you said, you'd worked on Thriller, you'd worked on Grease prior to that. So once you've won that show and then you've done Jesus, you haven't really got time to work on who Ben Forster is because it's straight away, it's Jesus, it's the guy from the TV. How did you find that switch of not just being a theatre actor, but also being, I suppose, a reality star or a public personality as well, that you aren't just hiding behind your character and that person who's watched in the audience goes, oh yeah, that was a good show, I like that. And then they've gone home again after the curtain call. You've gone, oh yeah, that was Ben Forster from the TV. I just watched him now, and now I've suddenly got to have a public persona as well as a private persona.
You know what? Weirdly, that bit doesn't affect, it doesn't play on my mind at all. I'm just like literally who I am. I've always been, I've got a really strong personality. So people always go, oh, you're so down to earth. You don't give a, like, you don't give a toss like about anything. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I just am living my life. I'm keeping myself happy. I love my life I've created. And I am like generally a happy person. I think that in the sort of public eye section of it, what always gave me some sort of comfort in my heart was that the role I played, first of all, the prize to my TV show was playing one of the greatest roles ever written for a musical theatre male, or Cynthia Erivo, played it this summer, so a male or a female now. But you know, you're playing Jesus, and it's a really, really hard thing. I knew that I could do it in my mind somewhere. I wouldn't have entered the competition if I thought, oh, would I be able to hit that note? Would I be able to do it? But I knew I could do it. So I always was like, I feel blessed that I wasn't an X Factor winner that had to then go and do an album and prove themselves and write songs and be judged creatively, purely creatively on like what they can do as a artist. I was an actor being given the opportunity to play an amazing role. I think it's an easier. I had a bit of a blessing there. You know, I was already catapulted to play one of the best roles. It's like winning the X Factor, but then going, you will present and win a Grammy. You know, it's like going, you'll win the X Factor, but you will get a number one album, and everyone will love your song because everyone loves Jesus Christ Superstar that comes to see it. Otherwise, you don't buy a ticket. Everyone's a fan of the show. Do you know what I mean? So already you're sort of blessed a little bit. That made it a lot easier.
Well, let's go back a little bit further then. Your next song on the album is Bring Him Home from Les Mis. So let's talk about the Ben at Thornhill School. And it's not the same Thornhill School for Academy from Educating Yorkshire, which got me very excited. So I thought, is he being an Educating Yorkshire? No, it's a Sunderland one. So 1996, you're in school and you're starting to work out who you are. Yes, you've got the acting tributes there, but who were you in school? What was the role that you played in your year group?
God, what a good question, Johnny. I think I was. I think I was. I think if you look back on paper at me at school, you would think I had like a successful school life. I was the head boy of all the schools I was in. I was either deputy head boy or head boy. I always really got on with the adult teachers, so I was, and I've always been able to sort of communicate more with adults, I guess. I've never really related to like boys and masculinity and sport, and I would rather like go and sit in a cupboard than actually have to go and talk to a group of boys at school. But I was lucky because I had a great group of girlfriends, and I had the most amazing music teacher who used to let me just be in her room. I used to just go into the music room in every break and every lunch. And then after school, we used to sit and play songs and Andrew Lloyd Webber songs. And really, she gave me an escapism route through the education system. I also don't think I'm that academically, I'm not in the academic bit. I was never good at maths. I hated how when I had to like read out loud. So I was full of insecurity about the actual learning. I knew what I wanted to do. I was in all the school shows. I was constantly in the music room. I was constantly being creative at school. So that gave me a good outlet. But like everyone else, I was like, you know, there was horrible people that went to my school. I was bullied and all that sort of stuff. But I did have a good, I think I had like when I look back, it was a good experience, but only because I was lucky to have great girlfriends, a really good music teacher, and I was clever enough to run out of the gates or wait 10 minutes until I could walk home. And I avoided all the, I think it means maybe the word streetwise, but I avoided a lot of the sort of trouble I might have got myself into because I just hate that sort of toxic masculinity northeast that everyone lives in, especially in the 1980s and 90s.
So, talking of bring him home, if you could bring one person home to have helped you in that time, someone that you look up to in the industry now, whether it's someone who's dead or alive, who would have you wanted there to be your mentor and to be by your side as the bullies were going on, as the gossip was going on, but also that person who was going to push you, not academically, but in a vocational sense, to get the best of you to the version that we actually have today?
You know what? I mean, I think I would have to, if I'm like dedicating that song to someone or acknowledging a song, it would have to be Mrs. Bennett, Jackie Bennett, my music teacher, who gave me a safe place and actually but didn't even just do that, was fully inspired me, give hundreds of hours. I mean, I'm not even kidding you, hundreds of hours. Told me to go to the National Youth Music Theatre in summer holidays, helped me raise money to pay for it, told me to apply for college, prepared me for all my auditions, and just was one of those people who were meant to be teachers. She was meant to be in my life. She, like, she made my life something that it 100% wouldn't have been. I mean, I had supportive parents and I had the desire to do it, but actually, she just gave so much time, thanklessly, really. She's just a comprehensive music teacher. She wasn't getting any money or anything to stay, but really, really dedicated hundreds of hours of her life to me, really.
Well, that's the nice thing when you're in school and you've got that one student who actually wants to be in that lesson. As a teacher, it makes it really easy because, most subjects, the students don't care. And the teacher has to really motivate them. Which leads me to 1997, your next song on the album, From Now On, from The Greatest Showman. Beautiful song. Your arrangement is beautiful on it. But you then go to Italia Conti. So rather than being that really big fish in that small pond of Mrs. Bennett in the music class, suddenly you're a very small fish in a massive pond. And we know how many successful people have come from Itali Conti. From now on, how did your mental health attitudes to the industry, to yourself change when suddenly you are that little fish with everyone trying to compete, to dance, to sing, to act, and to be that center of attention?
Actually, it was really difficult coming to London and met my people before. I'd had my girlfriends in Sunderland, but I didn't realize there was people that were fully exactly the same as me, like obsessed, loved performing, wanted to live this sort of artistic life, that were happy with being 100% themselves. You know, I had grew up in a really masculine northeast environment, and suddenly I had like gay friends. And like I didn't dare say I was gay, but you know, I was like, I was only 17, 16, 17. And I remember meeting like a few of my best friends now, and they're being like, "You are gay though, aren't you?" And I was like, "No, I'm not gay." Like, and I just couldn't actually just say the words. I mean, it fixed itself after like 6 weeks or something. But you know, being in that space was amazing. It was the first time I could ever truly just be myself constantly, 24 hours a day, be who I actually wanted to be. And that was a really beautiful thing. Going into that world, I mean, when I went there, there was people that in my classes and stuff that were on TV. You know, people were actually like in TV shows and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, I watched her for the last like 2 years, and now she's in my dance class, you know. And it was a different life. People were being dropped off with like Mercedes chauffeur-driven cars because their dad owned record labels, or they owned nightclubs in London, or their mum and dads were famous and they were pop singers. And then it was me, like from like my parents' house was worth like £3,000, I think, when I first moved to London, and my fees were 30, but I got a scholarship, thank God. But it was just a totally different thing. What I did always know, and what I've always had, and I'm not saying that this is, I don't think it's arrogance, but I had this innate sort of knowing that I can do it. I've always had self-belief. Like I do always think, like, even though I have all the insecure moments of questioning yourself, I always do go, but I can sing. And my voice is good. And I do believe I can play this role. I do believe I can get through this college. Um, you know, so it was again, I also really connected with all my teachers there, even though I loved all my newfound school friends and all the gays and all the girls at Itali Conti. But I did again have this weird connection with all the adults there. Like I used to go and drink wine with the head the and all the office people on a Friday afternoon, and like there was hundreds of people there. No one else did that, but for some reason on a Friday afternoon, I would go up and sit in the office and like take a bottle of white wine and drink white wine with the principal and the agent. I don't know why that is. I don't know whether I'm just an older sort of soul that likes older conversations, or whether I was also in my mind thinking, well, that's my principal and that's my agent, so I'm going to make sure they know who I am and they know what I want. Don't know whether that's manipulative on my part, but there was probably a side of me that thought, I need to make this work. I've come all the way to London and my parents have remortgaged the house and sold their car. You know, I need to make sure everyone knows who I am and what I can do. And I've always, maybe I've always done that a little bit. It's the ambitious side of it.
Well, let's use You Will Be Found. Beautiful song from Dear Evan Hansen about that sense of
I love
belonging
that
that
song.
you had. You know, it took you 10 years to come out in the media. You did that big interview in Attitude magazine back in 2022, 10 years after you did Superstar. Like you said, you were being with your teachers drinking on a Friday. When we say you will be found, where is your sense of belonging, Ben? Where is it that, whether it's a location, whether it's a mental mindset, whether it's the stage, where is it that you feel I can be fully 100% Ben Forster, warts and all?
You know what? I never thought I would ever say this. I never thought these words would come out my mouth, actually, the whole of my life. But I think I've only just found who I am when I've moved back up north. I moved back up north to renovate a house with my partner. And obviously, I've lived in London for like 20, 25 years ish. It's the first time, actually, because I think I'm secure in myself. I've been with my partner for nearly 20 years. We're really happy. I've got my home life is good. But what is really interesting is I felt very happy in my day to day in London. I used to walk around, get the tube, get to meetings, get to work, go to do a show, you know, meet friends, all fun, fabulous stuff. I didn't realize what I was missing. And we moved up north right after COVID in 2021 to start renovating this house. And I moved up into a northern village in Cumbria, and I'd had a house there for a bit, and I'd grown up on the weekends from being 10 in Cumbria. I did know people, and I do know people there. But when we got there, I was like, oh, we're going to do this. put ourselves there for 6 months. We'll start the renovation and we'll come back to London. And we had big plans for our house in London and stuff. And we got there, and after about 6 months or 9 months, I went away to do a show. My partner came with me and he was like, I can't wait to get home. And I was like, oh no, we're going back to Cumbria first. And he was like, oh no, yeah, I mean like not London, Cumbria. And I was like, home. Oh, okay, 'cause he's from London as well. And then that started a conversation, and I was like, do you really think that you could live up in a village of 300 people? And I think we both in that conversation realized how inner happy we were. And that comes with being able to 100% be yourself, And actually, what I didn't know about myself is that I love it when people talk to me. I love when people go, morning, you okay? I would have thought in my brain, I hate that. Don't talk to me. I'm on the tube. If someone looked at me, I'd be like, and actually, like, I love going to the pub. I love seeing everyone. And these are not people that are in my life all day, every day. They're not strategically important people that I love in my life, but they're part of my community. And I don't think I ever realized the strength and power in having a community that doesn't necessarily mean the world individually to you. They're all just friends and villagers and people that we know. But I love it collectively. It's the most important thing. And I think I'm actually living my 100% genuine life on this sort of fell side in Cumbria, where I'm just really, really happy. So yeah, I think it's just recent, and I think it's to do with relocating out of London.
Bringing it all together, my friend, as the album comes to an end, your final song on the album is from Phantom of the Opera, Music of the Night. Beautiful song. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Every song's beautiful. It's the final question for you, Ben. You're back in Cumbria now. You're touring around the UK next year, but that's 2026. We'll talk about your tour in a second. And obviously, if anyone wants tickets, you need to go to www.awaywithmedia.com/tours/Ben dash Forster. In 80 years' time, when people are thinking about that leading man of the West End, you've got Ben Forster, you've got Michael Bull, etc., etc. How do you want that Ben Forster to be remembered? What is your as we come to your final curtain? What is going to be the music of the night when we think of Ben Forster in the future?
I think I would just like to be remembered like maybe as just like I chose my life. Like I chose it, like literally from being like 10 years old. I knew what I wanted to do, and I used like all my abilities to get to where I wanted to be. And I've lived every day. I've never like I always say this, I've never had a job. Like I don't actually feel like I've ever worked. Because it's all just stuff I would have done for free. Don't tell any producers. But I would have I literally love everything I do. It's not about like money. Of course we need that to like survive and live and stuff. But like I really feel blessed and lucky. And I think hopefully if my life carries on the way it's been, it would be that I created my absolute best life. Like I do absolutely love it. So I just would want people to know that I felt really content that I did that. And then also know that I really do feel like anyone can get themselves out of anything and become anything they want. I truly believe that. Like I think that you can become and create all the things you want to be in time. It's took me
That
25 years to get there.
that's the future. That's the present. If we just finish up with the past and use one of your characters, Buddy the Elf, because the Buddy's personality and how he just doesn't care, and as you talk about freedom, Joel Montague is going to be in Elf the Musical in the West End this Christmas at the Dominion. What would be your advice to him and to Buddy the Elf of what the future is there?
I think that you've just got to really be authentically who you want to be. Buddy was the most authentic person ever because he just thought he was an elf. Like, it's really simple. I since I was 10, I've thought I was going to be a West End star. I've thought I was going to be a singer, And I think if you truly have an inkling, which makes you the most blessed person on this planet, if you actually know what you want to do and who you want to be and what you want to spend your days doing, that's the biggest thing. I always think that, what if I didn't know this? What if I didn't feel like I loved it? What if that's what's got me through my life. And I would say, Buddy was blessed because he knew exactly who he wanted to be. And I think that's the biggest thing we can try and discover. I think that's number one step. The rest is what you can create and what you can be and what you can become and how you can hold on to it. But the biggest question is, who are you? What do you want to be?
I love it, Ben. I love it. You start your album with ABBA's The Winner Takes It All. I want to close this, my friend, by saying to Ben, thank you for the music, because your album is beautiful. I can't thank you enough, Ben. You can see him on tour around the UK from September to November in 2026. Go and visit awaywithmedia.com/tours/Ben Forster. His album, and I swear on my life, this is the most beautiful musical album you'll hear. I want it playlisted on Heart Musicals, Magic and the Musicals. I want you on stage all the time at the Albert Hall next year on all the musical things on West End Live. Musicals Greatest Hits is out to go and stream now. That's it for Killing Skill this week with me, Johnny Seifert. If you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing, I'm on TikTok at Johnny Seifert92 and on Instagram at Johnny Seifert and at Killing Skill Podcast. You can find Ben on Instagram and TikTok at the Ben Forster. I'll be back next week with another guest who says it's okay to be okay. But until then, my friend, look after yourselves and I'll speak to you soon.